I'm dressed in my Sunday best, so I shall clearly overcome this. Nah, it's not a challenge. Um, Hello everyone. I don't know if he'll actually come, but I did invite him on Friday during well, I guess after, to be fair. It was technically at the end. It was meant to be read while he was still there. I don't know if he actually paid attention to it or not, but hopefully he did because this, I think, would be a fun conversation to have. Now, I'll get absolutely destroyed, but that's whatever, right? Honestly, I think it would be good for him though, because he seems to be the kind of person who doesn't really know a lot of stuff. And like, I don't really care about politics, right? Anyone who knows me knows, hell, I don't even agree with Ant. I'm right wing. Center right, mind you, so I don't agree with the far right people, and also right wing, so I don't agree with Donald Trump and his socialist ass. Yeah, let's invest government money into Intel as a stockholder. Yeah, let's literally do socialism. Donald Trump is so far right, guys, that he's literally a socialist. I like he's far left, if anything, which is dangerous, but not right, not far right. He's still far in the direction that he is, a little too far, mind you, way too far, but it's not right wing that he's too far in the direction. And again, it needs to be said, in government investing money into private enterprise is the definition of socialism. The people own, as in the government, right? That's what the people means, by the way, owning the means to production. A lot of people think the people refers to the average citizen, and that only works in communism because communism is government free, right? Communism refers to commune, right? So actually, um, believe it or not, a lot of places in America are communist. I don't have a problem with them, like, but they aren't in California, right? Or the Washington D.C. They're in places like Amish villages in Pennsylvania, right? So like actual communism is Amish, right? Commune, that's where the word comes from. But we're talking about Donald Trump being a socialist, right? So Donald Trump, of course, invest government money, your tax dollars, by the way, you're paying for this, into companies to have a stake ownership of. That is, the people, aka the government, owning the mean or seizing the means, rather, is the phrase of production. That's socialism. That's what it is. When the government invests money into a private enterprise company, it's socialism, and it always ends badly, by the way, too. There has never been a time where socialism has ever actually done anything good. And there's never been an industry which has been socialized that has been successful. Education was socialized, right? And I don't mean public education. I mean like private schools. Um, yeah, like private schools, for example, are socially funded, right? There's government money in social government money in social programs for private schools, right? That should not be a thing. And guess what happened? Well, as soon as government money started funding not just public schools, but private schools as well, those schools started getting massively expensive, right? Like the socialism didn't make them cheaper, it made them more expensive. Your private schools went from costing $2,000 to costing $80,000 for the same year. That's not okay, right? I think we can all kind of agree with that, I would say, right? That socialism has done massive damage to, the U.S. economy. So Donald Trump doing those same socialist tactics and policies, mind you, not just tactics, but policies, is bad and far left of him. That's why, again, I say I don't dislike him for his right wing takes. I just don't think he has any. I think he's mostly a far left candidate, really massively far left, mind you. And the other thing is, of course, there's a lot of people who want socialist stuff for stuff like welfare, right? Which is one of the few areas where it's not necessarily that bad. But that's just because, really, you're going to get it from the government in one way or another, because a lot of people don't get this. The church is a government, right? Like the Catholic Church is a government, so it's literally a country. And it used to be the dominant government of the entire world for a while, right? It used to be if you even criticized the Pope, that would be off with your head. As a king, mind you. Kings would lose their heads if they criticized the Pope back in the day, right? Now, thankfully, we're beyond that, but like my point is, right? The government is kind of always involved in charity and welfare at one point or another. Now, I think if they're going to be government involved in charity, it should be under the Christian notions, right? Because where you grant mercy and forgiveness and all that, right? And charity, right? Is you know because that's the thing. A lot of people don't know this because evangelicalism kind of ruined what Christianity was all about in America. Christianity is not about being the dominant religion. It is not because of evangelicalism. Evangelicalism, by the way, is the reason why people are turning away from the church. That far right, like populist propaganda of "we are Christian, we are mighty, we are going to destroy you, you're going to go to hell if you disbelieve in us," is why people don't believe in Christ anymore. The point of Christianity is to actually follow the Bible, and the Bible's not about command and conquer. At least not in that particular form. If you read the Bible in context, you technically do command and conquer, but not through violence, not through might. Might does not make right in Christianity. Instead of might makes right in Christianity, what you have is compassion and empathy and support, right? Makes right. And that's also how you get people to join Christianity, because you evangelize. It's funny. They call themselves evangelists, but they never evangelize. What does evangelism mean? It means to spread the good word, right? The good news. That's what the gospel it means, right? If there's nothing happy about your messaging about Christ, if all you have is anger towards your enemy and never goodness for your enemy, you are not Christian. You are not spreading the good word. You are being mean-spirited and disgusting. And really, that's more of an Islamic tactic. And that's, hey, look, I guess if you want to convert people to Islam, yeah, to be my guest. I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't really think you should, but that's apparently what so many evangelical people want to do, is just speed run the coattails to make everyone Islamic, because that's how you do it, by the way. You don't do it by being virtuous and charitable. You do it by being chimping out, really, because that's ultimately the thing. If your philosophy is might makes right, hierarchy is the dominant force. Like, for example, Sargon of Akkad. Um, you're a chimp. You're a low IQ individual because you only believe in violence for your answers. You can't actually talk about things, right? So, it's funny that people like Sargon of Akkad exist. They're like, oh, we were beyond violence. And then when they go by how they got everything, they're like, oh, well, we did use violence. Well, no, you didn't. Well, your ancestors didn't. You think they did because you're a low IQ individual, Sargon. But no, your ancestors actually, did this thing called communicate and talk to people. And, in fact, believe it or not, we didn't conquer the slaves that we brought to America. Did you know that? Did you know that they were given to us, right? Because the kings sold them to us. We paid for them. That's not conquering, that's buying a product, right? And, those slaves were conquered by those kings, which, by the way, is why all these third world countries are shitholes, mind you. It turns out that their kings prevent them from learning or doing anything. And they do this, by the way, the purpose of that is they want their people uneducated so that they can torment them and bully them forever without them ever questioning why. That's what the evangelical right is about, too, by the way. They want to turn the United States from this glorious, great land that it is to a third world shithole so that the American people can never question why things are happening about them. And they're using terrorist shocks from a couple Islamic people here and there to force people into accepting the idea of an authoritarian regime constantly marching their footsteps around, right? These are points that I really dislike about Trump. And again, these are far right and far left policies, socialism and police statism, right? These are both stupid, retarded ideologies that only pea-brained individuals believe in, right? Everyone's like, well, all these cities are dangerous. Are they? Are they? I mean, they are for gang members, but that's the thing too, right? If you go to a city, right, gang-ridden part of a city, right, the ghetto, or really the projects, really, if you, the real dangerous parts are near the low-rent high-rises. That's what a project is, by the way. A lot of people don't know that. A project is like a hotel kind of thing that's all for poor people. It's the projects. It's the low-rent, high-rise projects. If you ever watch PJ's Projects, there's a good example of that, right? And they'll have like 13 apartment buildings. I used to live in one of these places. I survived by being a pussy, by the way. I'm not going to pretend that being in the projects is a badass thing because it isn't. You survive either by being a degenerate piece of shit or being a pussy. I decided to be a pussy because I had morals that I didn't want to break. So I just said nothing, did nothing, all that to survive. But I didn't agree with any of that and I didn't participate in any of it. But I knew that there was a lot of bad shit going on there. But that's the projects. Everyone knows that bad shit goes on there because it's a government project called MK Ultra. That's why they're called the projects, MK Ultra, guys. And that's another thing, right? If people like Sargon were right and racism was actually a valid ideology, why would anyone have to constantly drug up black people in America or the UK to keep them in line, right? MK Ultra would not be a thing, right? If Carl Benjamin had any correctness to his opinions. Like that's the best way to debunk people like Carl Benjamin is just to ask them why they need all this might to keep their ideology correct and in power if their ideology is that they are the only smart people who are intelligent enough to do things without violence, right? If they need to be violent to protect their ideology of that they don't have to be violent to do things, then they, right, you know what I mean? Like if that was the case, then why do they have to chimp out to protect it? If their actual beliefs had any merit, then there would be no chimping out by white people to protect white society, right? It would just be, oh, we're smarter than you and you're dumb and we can just we don't have to resort to violence. But that's ultimately the thing, right? Carl Benjamin, of course, is a fanatical like loser, right? He, like, really, when you look at most of these people, and this is one of the reasons why I want to debate Tactical Templar, is they're very low IQ individuals who only seem to be intelligent on the surface level. And I'm talking about like these like grifter types. Like Charlie Kirk was very intelligent, right? Sadly, one of the more intelligent right wing people in the sphere got taken out by a pretty pathetic loser. Like, he was also low IQ, the assassin. It's almost as if like low IQ and violence are like kind of similar, right? But like if you promote violence in your rhetoric, you're probably low IQ. Let's just say that. And by probably I mean absolutely. And by absolutely I mean you are. Like there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If your first resort to people and society around you changing is to chimp out and be a violent psychopath, you're a dipshit with a low IQ. That doesn't mean, you can't do things like, for example, arrest criminals, right? Because, that's what the far left says don't do, right? But notice when it comes to illegal immigration, everyone says citizens. They're not citizens. You're not citizens. They're not citizens. That doesn't mean they're not legally here. You do realize that green cards and H-1B and H-2B and H-2A and H-1A, all of these exist. By the way, those things that I said, H-1B, H-1A, H-2A, and H-2B, those are what's known as work visas. H1A and B are high end work visas like medical fields, computers, and all that. And H2A and B are things like farming and stuff like that. So there's more seasonal jobs like farming, and like another one is, of course, they might do construction worker, landscaping, stuff like that, right? These are those jobs, right? And now the third type of legal immigrant is asylum seeking, right? So you have actually four, like, there's naturalized citizen. So there's naturalized citizen, there's permanent non-working, which is a green card, work and education visas, which are H2Bs, right? So they're like the high work jobs, just work visas, where you don't have to be smart or trying to be smart, which are the H2A and Bs. So basically, like farming and landscaping again, the jobs nobody wants to do, except for maybe a couple people in America. By the way, you can just start your own business if you're if you're actually saying, well, I can't get a job in that. Just start your own business. Nobody would if the price is right. Nobody's going to turn down a landscaper, right? If you want to do the job for cheaper than this guy hiring a million Mexicans will do it and quicker, you have a team of family members who will help you with it, and friends and family members who will help you with it, just do that. Like I used to shovel snow. You think that, I mean, that's a landscaping job basically. You think that Mexicans ever outcompeted me with that? No. They said 10, I mean, they said 20, I said 10. That's all that happened, and I outbid them every single time. Well, I guess underbid them, but like I did that job real well because I wanted the money. Mexican taking my job? No way, Jose. Literally, because their name was probably Jose. But like that's the thing, right? You outcompete them with your own business. That's how you do it, right? Because you can just do that in America. Like if you have a company that you want to compete with, and they're not hiring you, or that won't hire you, and you want a job in that field, just make your own company. Like unless it's a restaurant, just make your own company. You don't need a physical place for most low end jobs, especially, and many high end jobs too. You don't need a to work at EA to be a game developer. You can just make your own game. Honestly, I'd say working at EA is terrible anyway. I mean, like it's either they're a sex. Like every time I hear about one of these companies, it's either their bosses are sex offenders, all their employees are treated like dog shit, you know, and thrown away under the bus anyway after they make them a profitable game, or if they make them a non-profitable game, right? Like I mean, I guess that one makes sense, but like it doesn't matter if the game makes money or not. All these companies just want to fire all their employees and replace them with AI, and then the AI is trash at making the game, so they're not making. Like I don't know how any of these AAA companies make money. Like they make shit game after shit game after shit game. You have never liked a AAA game outside of like Capcom, really. Well, I guess Square Enix too, like official Square Enix games, like Final Fantasy. But outside of Final Fantasy and Capcom games, I haven't enjoyed like a single AAA game at all. Like at all, like just at all. I haven't enjoyed a single AAA game. So it's all like old games and like a couple games from Japan, and even then, it's not that many. It's either double A or indie from now on for me. But like that's the thing, right? Because it's double A or indie for me, like that means if you make your game yourself, I'm more likely to buy it too. So realistically, people who complain about jobs are morons, in my opinion. You don't need a job. You need you don't need that. You need to have a way to make money. And a good way to make money is to just start your own business when it comes to things like that. So I don't really sympathize with that crowd because again, if they took your job, then just make your own job. you know, if they took your job, just make your own job. That's all you got to do. It's not that hard. You gotta actually like know that you're gonna do that, and maybe you have to once you get enough business, you have to start have to register it as an LLC. It can cost money, but realistically, you don't have to do that until you make enough money to buy like twice of what it would cost anyway. Um, so it doesn't really matter. But you like once you make enough money, you have to register an LLC. But that's just for tax purposes, and if you make enough money that you have to pay taxes for your business, you can afford the LLC license. I'll just say that right now and there. Like yeah, I think it's like $10,000 to register an LLC. You have to make about like what is it like 40,000 to have to like pay taxes. It's like above the poverty line, which is about 30,000. It's 30,000. So you have to make above 30,000 so a year. If you can save up for about 4 months for your business, you can afford the LLC, and then you've made enough money anyway. That doesn't matter, right? Um. So yeah, and again, that's just for tax purposes. You technically don't need to until you absolutely they're gonna, the IRS is gonna get involved if you don't. So basically, like probably more like 80,000. In that case, you can just do it in about 2 months, right? And even then, like that's if it is the $10,000. So you might actually have to make close to 500,000 or over 100. I forget what the actual numbers are before you have to register your own LLC. But like it's a lot. It's a decent chunk of money. You're not usually going to make that as an individual right away. I'll tell you that. And that's another thing, right? Businesses and jobs, they like you go to them to make money, right? That's the entire point, right? Like the entire point is that so if you can make money through another way, then just do that. And again, jobs are a place you go to make money. They are not. There's nothing more to it. But anyway, where? Let's see. Is he gonna show up? Like this is the thing too. By the way, he can say whatever he wants because I don't care about YouTube anymore. I mainly do Odyssey and Kick now. So like he can say whatever he wants because I'm not going to be demonetized on Kick, and YouTube can delete my channel and I'll still have Odyssey, so it doesn't really fucking matter to me. That's the cool thing about being me, right? I don't need to worry about whatever he plans on saying because I'll be successful either way with what I want to be, right? So my thing with Tactical Templar that I saw is that he seems well. One, he's definitely is low IQ. Like there is no debate on his intelligence. It's not very. It's not like a large amount of money. Also, anyone who sees that link in chat, do not click it. That is a bot. Let's see if I can delete it from Restream. I can't. I have to go to Kick for that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go to Kick right now, but that's a bot. Do not interact with that. Do not click that link. It's a scam bot. Everyone knows these bots. Just don't click suspicious links, everybody. It shouldn't be that hard, to be fair, for people to recognize not to do that, but I figured I'd tell people that anyway. I just noticed it was bothering me for a bit. So I was like, yeah, I'll just tell people about that. Don't click that link. That's a bot. It's gonna send you some scam shit. Now, what I know, right? To be fair, is I can click on it because I have a type of browser that will kind of just not allow any of that shit that it plans to do to happen. Um, so like unless it's like a really sophisticated hack or a really old one, there's two different kinds that could work. It's not gonna work. That's just how it is. I'm not gonna say the browser, but it's a good one. It does mean I have to log in every single time though. It doesn't save any login info. There is no like every single time I want to log into YouTube, I have to log in again. Like there is no there is no staying logged into YouTube on this browser, which I think is fine actually because hey, I don't really want to have to deal with that bullshit all the time. I'd rather log in every single time and know that none of the information is stored on my fucking browser. So yeah, it doesn't store anything. No passwords, no login information, none of that. No credit cards, none of that. There's no cookies in this browser. Basically, it's not storing shit. It's very secure. It's not the most secure. The most secure is, of course, Tor, and I forget the other thing you're supposed to use with Tor. But like, and like, there's a certain VPN you use with Tor as well. Like, there's 3 tools you use with the Tor browser, and like, that's the most secure. But like, that's a lot of work that I don't want to put on to just browse like YouTube. Like that shit. Like obviously Tor is what you use for piracy and shit. You don't use Tor to just browse like the web. You use Tor because there's something that you want to do that society might not look on you kindly for. I have Tor, but I don't really use it that often. Um, but yeah, it's a different browser. I'm also on CachyOS, by the way. I will say that. So, one thing I can do, right? I can actually pull this up right now. So console starts with a K too, because it's KDE, right? I can just be like, yo, 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 yo. Let's see. It's screen capture. Yeah. Oh no, not screen capture. Window capture. Where's the um? What? No. Okay. Screen capture. Is there a particular window? Ah, that's right. I have to do window itself. Well, I can just do an image. This gives me more control anyway. So yeah, this is the yeah, I have to download the plugin for that on Cachy. But anyway, let me just use an image. And then we'll just get this screenshot. So, yeah, I'm on Arch, by the way. There you go. Oop, I just realized local IP is on there. Oh well. I'll change that. That's another thing. You can just change your IP. So let's on this thing. So let me just do that next time. Yeah. All right. Another thing I can do is just change the machine. Like these are things like you can do. I'm not really worried about that. It's not that hard. A lot of people don't know that. It's not actually that hard to change all your shit. But yeah. And people like, aren't you afraid of dogs? I live in the middle of nowhere. Like, if people dox me, like, what, I'm gonna have friends? come over. Like they're gonna order me pizza. Like the tactics that people do to scare people and on like online. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? You're ordering me free pizza? It's like, yeah, you know where I live. I'm like, this is pizza, guys. I'm gonna eat it. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, you ordered me fucking free pizza from a gourmet pizza restaurant? Fuck am I afraid of that shit for? Like, and the thing is, where I live, like, none of these people would be scary to me. Because again, they show up, they ain't, they show up uninvited, they ain't gonna really like what happens, right? That's just how it is. Um, like, I hate to tell you people, but most people aren't afraid of people online because most people know they ain't got shit to worry about. That's just how it is. So, I'm just saying. Like, if you're afraid of people finding out where you live on the internet, right? Um, then there's two things, right? Either you don't want to defend yourself, right? Is one thing, or you live in a country that isn't the United States. That can be another thing, right? I live in the United States. I have rights. Okay, I have rights I will exercise. Let's just say that. And that's all I need to say. But yeah, it looks like he's not showing up. I'll keep it up for about an hour. Again, I kind of doubt he'll actually do anything worth anything. Because again, I find him a low IQ individual who is incapable of reasoning. This is known by the way he speaks. Like, this is observed by his speech patterns, his constant, like, weird purveyingness of. He kind of has this je ne sais quoi about how he speaks, where he just comes out like he doesn't know what he's talking about all the time. And like, if you don't know what you're talking about on certain subjects, it's one thing, but when you don't know anything about anything you talk about, you're just low IQ. Like, it's not low IQ to not know, like, advanced astrophysics topics on every single thing in science, right? Yeah, you don't know what would happen if two black holes collided. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. Most people don't. I don't even think most people who study them do. Um, we're not talking about that, right? We're talking about, hey, does he actually know what even the concepts he's talking about with wokeness are, right? Because he refers to wokeness as putting ugly chicks in video games and stuff like that, and not actual communism, right? Which is a big thing to note, right? Um, it is a big thing to note. Just saying. I also love how there's people asking why Kamala Harris lost to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump was the only one being talked about. Like a lot of people don't know this, but all publicity was about Donald Trump. There was nothing on Kamala Harris. There was like nothing that I saw that was just Kamala Harris. It's either Kamala Harris and Trump or Trump. Fucking person asking me about shit that doesn't apply. Fucking hate those numbers. Got another scam call. I find it funny, like, when the number is clearly one that tried to scam me before. I'm like, bitch, I ain't falling for it. Right? Like, I always answer them just to see. Uh, yeah, fuck that number. Hey, I love this. Now it's trying to call, like, do they have Izzad or something? Like, I think this was an Indian bitch, so maybe she has her Izzad is showing. She's got she's got a what is that? Is what they say. I don't know. The god. Oh shit! I love this though. People are this dude. This moron is calling Obama the godfather of illegal border crossing, which is kind of funny because he wasn't for that. That was Biden. Like Obama was like the ICE president. Like he arrested far more illegal migrants than Donald Trump and Bush. He's also the drone strike president, drone strike Barry. That's what we called him. That's what Donald Trump called him too. Drone strike Barry. Remember that, guys? Drone strike Barry. And we called him Ice Baby. If you were actually paying attention, I love it when people call like Obama things he clearly never stood for, right? Like that was all Biden who was a terrible president. Obama was pretty decent when it came to securing the border because like, he was deporting people left and right. Like if you actually look at the numbers, Obama deported 10 times the amount of people that Trump did in either term. He was also drone striking a lot more of our enemies. It's drone strike Barry and Ice Baby Barry. Those are his insulting terms, which is funny because Democrats now criticize Trump for doing what Obama did. All right, so we've got a guy who I guess he's Tactical Templar's audience because he sounds like a retard. So hello, low IQ individual. How are you today? Um, do you like that I am insulting you like your daddy probably does out back in your gay porn scenes that you filmed together? Because like I know he's also a faggot, right? Like I'm not gonna pretend otherwise. Tactical Templar is a massive faggot. He has the low IQ slurs to his voice too. Like I know he's fat, I know he's a faggot, and I know he's low IQ. Furries love the Pope. Okay. The most powerful Christian in the world. Okay, all right. Leader of the biggest religion of the world as well. Largest church there is, largest charity. Yeah, sure. Furries love the most powerful man on the planet. Absolutely. You know, Donald Trump's also a furry. So is Elon Musk. Where are you going to abandon Twitter? Are you going to abandon the United States? Why did I go into AI furry porn? Because it's hot, motherfucker. What the fuck's wrong with you? Like, are you trying to like? Where are you getting your insults from? Like, are you getting them from like the low IQ Somalians? Right? You want to go back to Somalia, motherfucker? like just go back to Somalia. Go back to Haiti, where retards like you belong. I'm here to debate Tactical Templar. Trump got bummed. Okay. All right. I mean, he did. Yeah, he is gay. Everyone knows that. I don't know. I don't know why anyone would really care. Like, it's like okay. I thought like the whole thing was that he was a PDF file. I thought he was diddling kids, but apparently not. Apparently, he just sucking Bill Clinton's dick. I'm like, okay, who cares? He also supports gay marriage, unlike Clinton, so he's less of a hypocrite on that, in my opinion. Like, I'm gonna hate Trump because he's gay. I hate him because he's a socialist that invest government tax money into companies that are failing, um, because he just wants them. He just wants stakes in Intel and Intel and OpenAI and all these non-profitable companies that can't make any money, so they pour taxpayer money into them in order to tie the economy to these companies that are going to go out of business in a couple of years. I guess because he wants the economy to crash. That's literally socialism, by the way. It's the government getting involved in private enterprise. That's a good reason to criticize Trump for, by the way, that he's a far left socialist. But people don't want to do that. They want to criticize him for being less right wing than Obama on immigration. And then they criticize Obama for being, and then the same right wing people who they'll criticize Obama for not being far enough, but then they'll say Trump is going fine. But then, if you actually pay attention, Obama deported more people and he drug striked more people. It literally was all Biden who was this far left president. I think about Jim Jones. I don't know. He sounds like a made up person with a made up name. So I'm going to call him a retard because he sounds like a retarded person. Like what are you what are you talking about, dude? Who the fuck's Jim Jones? Like it sounds like someone you pulled out your ass. Like yeah, like you gotta like these people bring up nobodies too. It's like I know Tactical Templar is also technically a nobody, but like I've at least heard of him. He made Jonestown. Okay. Again, this sounds like a made up place. I mean, I know there is places named Jonestown, but it's stupid. It's like it's like if someone like it's like okay, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. It's like okay, why does every town have this? Like, every town will have like one Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. It's like this mouthful of a street name, and they all fucking have it. It's like I know he was an important guy in like Michigan. Not Michigan. It was the South. So it was like Missouri, right? Like he was important in Missouri. He was a pastor in the South too. Like a lot of people don't know that he was a massive Christian apologist as well. Like he wasn't just a civil rights activist. He was a Christian apologist, right? He was a sort of like he was less successful at Christian apologetics, to be fair, than like say C.S. Lewis, right, who is very well known for his Christian apologetics, or William Lane Craig is a more modern example, I guess. Not really. We don't really name that many places after black people. We name like 5 of them. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I know 5 people, and one of them, right, like, is because that they were actually like physically there. Like it was like it was like their main like area. Like I wouldn't mind like I don't mind like Rosa Parks being in like the state she was in. There's a school named after like yeah, because she did something there. I just don't really see the point of it being like nationwide, but it's really only Dr. Martin Luther King that has that. Like any other place, it's like they actually did something in that state or town. I don't know if you know that, but like maybe in California it's different. I haven't actually been to California, mainly because I heard it was full of commies, and also because I see so many pedophiles getting away with actual pedophilia there, like Doctor Disrespect going into a bathroom and filming it while people are pissing and shitting. Like that's a crime in all 49 other states. It's pedophilia in all 49 other states to do. Who the fuck cares about George Floyd? Okay. Hey, look, George Floyd was a national hero. He sucked up all the fentanyl to save millions of lives by absorbing all the fentanyl with his nose. Okay, I don't fucking care about George Floyd. The dude's dead. If you want to make a statue for a crackhead for a fent head, sure. I don't really give a shit. Dude's like, okay, like I don't care. Like, massive fucking nose. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's funny. You assume I'm left wing when I am explicitly not. like, like you're like I'm debating Tactical Templar on stuff I think he's a dumbass on, and your opinion is that I must be left wing. Even though there's videos on my channel proving the opposite, you apparently think I'm left wing on the assumption because I watch some left wing YouTubers. And you wonder why people think you're a retard. Like, yeah. Why would anyone think of you as anything less than a sub Haitian IQ if the moment you see someone in a left-wing chat who isn't like being a fucking retard like you are. By the way, your dialogue like reeks of someone who isn't. Yeah, exactly. You reek of someone who has been online all day of all your life and knows nothing about reality. You don't. You know what outside is to you? It's a horror movie. You ever watch Terrifier 3? No. You ever go outside? Now you're feeling the scariest movie of your life. No, Haiti is not a first world country. It's a country full of retards. You want to know why? Because they act like you. There, that's how they do it. They all chimp out, right? You know what you're doing is called chimping out, right? It's being a violent retard who has nothing of value to say. You've added nothing to the conversation, by the way. You've just been a dumbass. Like, thank you for being a dumbass. It's funny. It is very entertaining. There are racist chuds outside. Yeah, sure. Not really. Not really. There's racist outside, not chuds. Chud is people who don't go outside. They're incels. Incels don't go outside. That's why they're incels. If they went outside, they'd get laid. Because, like, that's the thing. That's why they're incels. Factually why. They never go out the fucking door. They're like, oh, I'm afraid to talk to women. They'll get me arrested. Uh, well, that's your problem, Buster. I don't have a problem talking to bitches. Like, this is legitimately what you're talking about, right? Like, you guys are afraid to talk to your fellow human beings outside. It mortifies you, and it's funny as fuck to me. like, all you got. Like, look, you see this, right? This is a church outfit, and I got another thing for you. You see this? See this? This is a Bible. You praise Christ, right? Ever got that? Dude, you've never been outside. And you're also not Jewish or black. You're fat. I guess that's a thing, Maybe they would call you fat once, if at least if they were kids, they would call you fat, because kids don't have a filter. They'll just call you whatever they see, right? So if you have like some little kids, they'll be like, "Oh, why is his fat rolls jiggling?" That's basically it, right? And once you realize they're little kids that don't know any better, you ignore it. It's very easy. They're like 7. But yeah, sure. I'm sure that these things that you're saying are true. By the way, what's funny is that you're not saying this on Kick where you can get away with it. You're saying it on YouTube where I can just ban you if you get if you say anything wrong. So, like, that's the funny thing. I don't give a fuck about YouTube. YouTube's banning people just for being because the AI wants to ban them now. It's funny as fuck. Like, that anyone would stay on YouTube. I'm on Odyssey and Kick, by the way, so... And I am also on Rumble. So, like, I don't give a flying fuck what you say. YouTube's YouTube. As long as the stream's up, I don't give a flying fuck. I'm just going to mock you for being a retard until, like, the retard I want to debate comes in. And there we go. Right? All he has to do is just ask me for my Discord, and I'll DM it to him in YouTube, and then that'll be when the debate starts. But that's the thing, right? Also, there's only one slot, so left. By the way, Discord gives you 1,000 slots. You have more than 30. That's it. Just 30. Only 30. Only 30. Man, I thought you were terminally online. You're just terminally a loser. At least if you're properly terminally online, you'd have like 1,000. Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard of the story of Ashy Paws / Paw Tendo / notorious pedophile that would harass people for months on end. But he had over 1,000 emails and like 50 fucking Telegram accounts they would harass people on. It's a notorious pedophile in the furry fandom. Goes by Paw Tendo. Um, he has a Kiwi Farms article, by the way. You can read up on him. He's a piece of shit. He's a massive piece of shit. That's a funny thing. Like, there's many massive piece of shit in the furry fandom. I do not pretend otherwise. I know from firsthand experience a lot of them. Unfortunately, I ran into most of them, except for Jason Effects. I've never ran into that guy. I've ran into some of his buddies though, like Rags and Zealot DKD. You know, it's funny. You know, Zealot DKD is a zoophile. Jason Effects is a zoophile. You have Cotherix is a zoophile, and like, but Rags is totally innocent of that. He just hangs out around zoophiles and pedophiles all day. He's totally innocent of that, guys. He hangs around Adam from Your Movie Sucks. Jason Effects from the Cuck Shack. He hangs around Zealot DKD. Um, and who's a notorious 3D zoophile. like, I find it funny how anyone would ever believe that Rags is anything less than a dog fucker. Like, he doesn't even have a anthro persona; he has a feral persona, and he hangs around actual zoophiles all the time. Like, he's butt buddies with Jason Effects. Like, come on, guys. Yeah, Adam is another zoophile. Yeah, exactly. Like Rags hangs around all these zoophiles, and apparently we're supposed to believe that, Lawrence Tanner Angel, otherwise known as Rags, is apparently not a dog fucker. I 100% believe that he is a dog molester. And he cannot convince me otherwise because he'd have to like abandon his dog fucker friends, all of them. Not just publicly, by the way. He'd have to diss them publicly. He'd not just diss them. I want Rags to make a video on Zealot DKD, Jason Effects, and Your Movie Sucks, disowning them for fucking their dogs. That's when I'll believe that Rags is innocent. When he publicly disowns those three people. That's the thing. You hung out with these guys, motherfucker. You've been hanging out with them for years. Everyone knows it. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. It's on your channel. It's on their channel. It's all over the net. You hung out with them and were buddy with them. Rags. The only way I'm ever gonna believe you're not a zoophile is if you publicly disown all the zoophile friends you've had in your life. That's just it. That's all he can do. That's it. I'm gonna believe he's a dog fucker till he proves otherwise, because he's put too much information out that makes it seem like he is one. That's the thing. People who don't fuck dogs aren't comfortable being around people who fuck dogs. And they definitely don't have feral personas while being around people who are comfortable fucking dogs and aren't like that's the same with Rags. It's like he's obviously a zoophile. He hangs out with too many, and he doesn't disown them for being zoophiles. Like he's disowned Adam because they disagreed with him on EFAP, but they never disowned Adam for being a fucking dog fucker, Like the one thing that you should always disown Adam for, which is being a dog fucker. You don't have to disown Adam for his videos. I think most of his videos are alright, but he fucks dogs. So, that's why I don't like Adam from Your Movie Sucks, He's a dog fucker. He fucks dogs. Rags, why is that not your reason for disowning him? Like, Jason Effects, he's a pretty shitty person. He's also a dog fucker. Like, you can say the scam with his games too, but I think the most logical reason to hate Jason Effects is that he's fucked dogs and he's fucked his girlfriend when she was 15. He's a pedophile and a dog fucker. The reason to disown who's defended pedophilia. The reason to I don't know what I hate everything's about, but I never really watched his videos, to be honest. I think the one time I watched his video was back when he was debating, was it the right opinion or something on some bullshit. And the only time I remember watching any of his videos is in a debate with the right opinion. And I didn't really like the right opinion either, so it was like just two channels I hated. But like for some reason they worked like peanut butter and mayonnaise. They shouldn't work. I have no idea why they work, but they work. Like it actually is banging. It's a good combination, but they don't work alone, trust me. Just like peanut butter doesn't really work alone, or mayonnaise. You have to gotta put it with something. I guess peanut butter does technically work alone. I don't know. I don't know. I gotta find a better example. I don't know. Sodium and chloride. They don't work alone, but they work really good together. There we go. They make your soup taste really good. But like if you don't have them alone, they'll just kill you. Yeah, that's the funny thing. I remember the Bonesium episode that Solid JJ did on the Muppets. I'm like, they should just put sodium and chloride, but like alone instead of together. That would have worked. Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to show up now. At this point, I think his audience is clearly showing up. Yeah, the low IQ brigade. So that's funny. That's fun to talk about. But yeah, let's see if the Somalian the Johnny Somalian will show up. Tactical Templar. That's what I'm calling you, by the way. You're the Johnny Somalian in that you have a sub 70 IQ. And he does have a sub 70 IQ. You can hear it in his voice, by the way, and his attitude about AI and art. Like, it's why he has the attitude he has, right? He's lazy, and he's uneducated, and he's dumb. Like he literally got had Anthony Gramigula walk circles around him while just Googling. Like, all Anthony Gramigula did was Google like pictures of T-Rex and then did 5 seconds of Photoshop. You're Rwandan. No one's falling for it. You're a white guy from you're a white guy from California that's weighs 9,001 pounds. Everyone knows it. You don't have to hide it. You don't have to be dishonest. You don't have to be dishonest on my channel. You are a massively morbidly obese piece of shit who is an incel who will never get laid. Not because you're fat, by the way. There's a ton of women who'll be down to bank a fat man. It's called feeders, right? Most of them are fat too, to be fair too. But when you weigh 9,001 pounds, you can't exactly be picky. I'm just saying. But anyway, my point is, right? You weigh 9,001 pounds. Everyone knows it. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. And part of getting laid, by the way, is honesty. Just saying. Like, if you're so dishonest about who you are, if you were actually honest about who you were, you might get laid a bit better. Just saying. Like, I'm honest about who I am. I'm a gooner. I'm a goofy gooner. But I don't hide it, right? In fact, I pretty blatantly show it to people. I mean, my icon is clearly a gooner icon. I'm not shy about being in the porn. Yeah. The YouTube troll police. I mean, don't I have to be mad for it to be trolling? Like, I am giving you attention, I guess, but like, I'm giving you attention because you're in the audience and there's nothing really to talk about till he shows up. So, like, you're making my day. I'm happy, but like, I got, like, like in a couple hours, I'm just gonna be eating some Costco pizza and hot dogs. So like, no matter what, like we don't have to worry about nothing because if he doesn't show up in 2 hours, right? I'm just gonna end the stream and be like, yeah, I'm gonna get Costco doggies, the stable coin of today. Yeah. And then Ram's like the shit coin, right? Like RAM now costs $1,000 for the amount of RAM in my PC. By the way, you want to know how much RAM is in my PC? 96 gigabytes. Yeah, I train AI, so I have to have a decent bit. Um, he loves little Jacob. Nah, he's a lolicon, not a pedophile. What the fuck you on? Like he's a gooner. Yeah, he's into some weird shit. Yeah, I'm not into that weird shit, but I'm also into some other weird shits. I don't care what he's into if it's fictional. Like what the fuck you on? Like that's just an on drugs opinion. Yeah, he's a lolicon. Yeah, I'm not into lolicon. I don't care though. He can be in the like whatever tickles his fucking pickle. It's probably a little pickle because he sounds like 9,001 pounds. But like, hey, look, whatever tickles his pickle. It's legal. It's not hurting anyone in real life. I don't care. He can be a lolicon, just like I can be a furry. Like it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, he's into some weird anime porn that most people aren't into. Who the fuck cares? Like what are you like? What are you asking me about that for? Like he can be into that shit. I don't care. You can't show that in my channel. But you can be into it. I don't give a shit. Yeah, how many VTubers are lolicons? Like at least on the top, it's like all of them. Fuck out of here if you think I give a shit about that. I'll defend him on that. I'm not defending him on his dumbass opinions, but hey, he can be into whatever he wants. I don't like. That's just fine and dandy. Like what were you expecting me to answer with that? Like, yeah, I'm gonna go after you if that's what you're gonna say. Yeah, fuck that bullshit. Kink shaming. It's dumb as hell. Unproductive too, because it doesn't actually change the conversation. It just like ends up people just dislike you and don't want to associate themselves with you. I'm just saying, right? Like you should actually try to be nice to people. You hope AI replaces all art fags. Okay. It won't, but all right. And also as someone who trains AI, like I can tell you it won't. Like it'll probably replace like in the AAA sphere where productivity matters more than quality, but it's not gonna break into like indie spheres or anything all that well. Like the most you'll have is that people will use AI for wherever their weaknesses are. So if you're a coder, you'll use AI to do art, and if you're an artist, you'll use AI to do your code. Until you team up with a small team of friends where you can all just do what you're good at together. But only as when you're a solo developer, you'll just have AI do it instead, right? Yeah, sure. I can see that happening. I can see more small teams getting together. But the thing about the AI part, by the way, is ChatGPT. I'm not really against AI. I'm against like these big AI companies that run in a server that from Oracle that they get from donations from Nvidia that donates money to OpenAI, that donates money to Oracle, right? And the reason, by the way, that these companies receive tax dollars is because that circle jerk becomes unprofitable. So they're money laundering. That's one crime, by the way, that these big AI companies are doing with Nvidia. It's money laundering. That circular transfer of money is a crime. If you did this, you would go to jail. Just saying, if you did this with your friends, just kept passing around $100 to get around each other, constantly just kept that flow going, you go to jail. That's illegal. But that's what these three companies do: NVIDIA, Oracle, and OpenAI. That's a crime, and that's why I don't support ChatGPT. The other reason I don't support them is because like I could just let me actually open up my Comfy UI. All right, so console. Right. Let's see. Yep. All right. You got a CD. Um. Actually, let's see. What is this? Oh yeah. Password. All right. This is a terminal here. Yep. There we go. All right. Comfy UI is launching. All right. There we go. So yeah, like here we go. Look, I got AI going. Yeah, I got this. See, oh right. Okay. So yeah. So like this is AI workflow. So you get Yiffy mix, right? And I can just. I wonder what'll happen if I just use a standard prompt like that. All right, let's just do that. The furry porn AI with a standard scene prompt. It'll still work, but let's just see what it outputs. Let's see here. Oh yeah, okay, same shit. But yeah, this runs on my 3060. So like, if you look at the console, it's running on my GPU. Yeah. So yeah, how about that? And this is using the Linux, which is a little harder to set up. With his, there's a so let me just go Comfy UI, right? Right here, right? You can just download it for Windows. It's not that bad, right? Just download it for Windows, and then you go to a place like Civet AI for all your porn models. It's not that bad. It's pretty easy to do. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's pretty low IQ, and the fact of the matter, it's pretty obvious too. Another thing you can do is let's just look at another thing you can look at is Quen. Right, so you got Quen AI for Quen Chat, right? So if you want to learn a code, right, here's the thing you can do. All right, let's go to Quen Chat. So like this is one where you can do thinking. I believe there's code as well. Yeah, coder. Let's ask it to write an HTML game application. A game. Yeah, just a game. Write a game in HTML, CSS, and Java script, which is a 2D platformer like Mario. There we go. Sure, whatever. Look. Look at that. And this is in China, so if it ruins their environment, I don't care. It's Chinese, not mine. I don't give a shit. That's the thing, right? When you realize how the environment works, you just care about your environment. You don't care about other people's environment. But the other thing is, this uses a lot less power than American AI, so it's technically just works. Anyway, let's do that. All right. Yeah, it's generating the whole fucking game too. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's go. Yeah, because it's Mario. All right. So download that. Save it. See what happens if I run it. So watch this. Watch. I'll just run it. Where did I save that at? Save it in here again. Must have. Yeah, I did. Okay. Yep. All right. There we go. Okay. I spawned a little problematic position, but yeah. I think I can actually fix that. Let me edit this a bit. I think the ground is collision, so let me check. Oh wait, no, it doesn't have collision. Okay, make sure the round has a collision check. There you go. Okay. Alright, let me just make sure that that's actually in there. I doubt it's in there. Yeah, this is a cool little thing. Alright, but yeah, you notice it just generated the fucking game. It just, you can't really control it because it, unfortunately, doesn't. Oh, there we go. So apparently you keep falling. There we go. So there's something wrong with the gravity, but otherwise, yeah. No, actually, smart people just learn the code. And the reason why they learn the code, by the way, is because if you once you learn the code, you can just debug what I did easily and figure out where that error occurred. Yeah, it's been a while since I could. And I also don't program in JavaScript, so I don't know what the fuck's going on there. But it doesn't matter because the fact of the matter is I just made a game, and that's the cool thing about it. Like I made a game in 5 seconds. Hey, look, if you're gonna use AI, hey, look, I just made a game with AI. It took me 10 seconds. Like Tactical Templar wants to save gaming. Hey, make a fucking game then. I'll play it. I don't fucking care. But make a game, and don't be pedophilic about it. Like Andy Pants has a problem with that. Like that's the thing. Like you don't make CP of your actual daughter. Like fuck him for that. But like again, that's like where that's like what Shadman did. Like yeah, fuck that. Like that's the thing. As long as you don't make it about real people, I don't care if it's like lolly or whatever. Though, like you can make lolly. I mean, I played Duet Night Abyss. That's lolly. Not really lolicon, mind you. There's no sex about it, but there's lollies in it. Like there's snow, There's the Hydroid ripoff because it's a Warframe clone. So the Hydroid ripoff chick is she's a lolly, right? You have I think Truffle and Filbert are lollies. I'm pretty sure. You have Shoda as well. You have Yale and Oliver. Yale is a Shoda kind of dude. And you have all the elf people are lollies. You have Snow. You have the blacksmith, and you have the shopkeeper. So and you also have, of course, the various lollies of that same species in the games. You have a couple here and there. Yeah. So like, I don't care what he's into. It doesn't mind. It doesn't matter to me. Like, it's not bothering me one bit. But again, like, the problem with him, in my opinion, is the severe low IQ he has on AI. Again, I doubt. Like, I know the game sucked. Like, there's the fact that you have to jump immediately in order to play it, and that you're basically on a timer, and you have to make every jump perfectly. It kind of sucks about that. Although, granted, I could probably fix the collision code. It's not really that hard. You just check if you're on the ground to not call gravity. Basically, they don't need to worry about my character's gravity if he's not on the ground plane. You know. But yeah. Oh, and another thing, by the way. So. Yeah, I also got Unreal Engine is a thing too. Oh yeah, also it's Taco Tuesday from Kirsha. Yeah, let that burp out. Let's check Discord and Telegram. Yeah. Feet. Okay. Anyway. Let's see. Oh yeah, my girlfriend's talking about the Costco doggy with Freerin.
Here we are, $2.50 hot dogs.
Just $1.50? How can they possibly make a profit off of that?
It's the same price as back then.
Wouldn't inflation cause the price to change?
I remember when Himmel the Hero bought a hot dog here for the same price. Costco is unchanged, even now. Back then, Himmel.
I fucking love Costco. Some are, definitely. The thing is, you say they overcharge, but what are they charging that's overcharging, right? By the way, if you want to know why art sucks, want to know how much the Sistine Chapel cost? Do you know? Do you know? It wasn't cheap. I can tell you that. So the Sistine Chapel, the paintings, just the paintings, not the building, not the construction, just the paintings. The Pope paid about, like, what would be equivalent of, I'd say, about $50 million worth of money, and just money. That we're not talking about the other riches that Michelangelo got. Because for those who don't know, Michelangelo was basically a playboy back in the day because the Pope just gave him unlimited money. That's why his art was so good. This is a thing people don't understand. The reason art stopped being that quality, that high quality, is because nobody wants to put the money in for it anymore. The Pope used to fund millions of dollars worth of money into art because he wanted the Catholic Church to look so good. That's why the Catholic Church looks so fucking tatted out, by the way. All the money they put into it. Yeah, that shit costs a lot of money to make. They were willing to pay for it because they wanted to look good. That's why. So, like, no, artists don't overcharge. People have been underpaying for art for so long that they forgot what actually charging fairly looked like. We're talking about art, by the way, not we're not talking about like someone makes furry porn that looks like shit. We're talking about like good looking art, which can be furry porn to be fair, but like it has to look good. Like like if it's a Chuny piece, I think he undercharges himself, or like a Macmic. But like if it's someone like like say there's a lot of furry artists who are like not really that good, charging more than these two charge. I'm like, dog, your artwork is worth like $5 at most, you know. But then like but then like the artists that are really good, it's like 200 to 500. Yeah, no, I agree. Like that is stupid. That is kind of scummy. And like it wouldn't be scummy if they just did them. Like it's just like they say $30 for a sketch, just sketch. Like like most of these people learn that they can just use 3D models anyway. So just put it in the pose you want and sketch it around. It's not that hard. Well, that's the thing, they don't really want to do it most of the time. Like I've had issues with people as well. But it's really just not really that big a deal for me. But if I think someone's art's not worth the price, I just don't pay for it. It's that simple. If they haven't shown that they can do decent artwork, I'm just not going to pay for it. I think that's the thing. Like Tumblr has talented people on it. Like some of the most talented artists I've met are people like Chris X and Manuel de Oreje. He's actually like one of the top furry artists there is. Actually, he actually works a bit with Marcus Winnie, the guy who did all the realistic Pokemon for the Pokemon movie. Yeah, that dude's a those dudes are in each other's corners, right? They have each other on speed dial, basically, right? But like those people are big shots for a reason, right? And like if you look at their art station, they're constantly pumping out stuff. Like every week you see a new model, and that's just what's on their art station. Some of that shit's on their shit they make is on NDA, and they will never release it on ArtStation because they can't. But these are like the top dogs. Like you get like other top dog is of course you have what is it what's his name? Fuck. The God of War artist. He has a course too on YouTube. Oh, not on YouTube. He has it on Gumroad. But his name is Raphael Grassetti, right? He's the God of War artist, right? So he's done plenty of good. So let me like show you this shit, right? Let me show you this shit. Like this is yeah, let me show you this guy. Hey, look at this. Got a nice Star Fox, peppy. You got the Star Fox crowd. You got, of course, his work on Spider-Man 1 and 2, God of War. He doesn't show the God of War stuff he did, but he did Spider-Man Miles. He does a lot of stuff for Sony. And he's done Black Panther as a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. I think this was obviously for free, but like he gets paid a lot of money. He also did a lot with NFTs too. Like that dude's worth a lot of money. He's got fuck you money. But that's the thing, right? Like, when you're that good, you can just get rich off of NFTs. Yeah. Like, but that's the thing, right? Like, yeah, there's a lot of terrible artists, but part of the reason that happened, by the way, is because people were willing to pay for it. You know that, right? Like that's why That's why all those terrible furry and whatever artists from Tumblr did their stuff. You know that, right? Like all that was basically like people were willing to pay for it, so they did it for that price. Hello, DF Show. How are you? Wow. Okay. I mean, I don't know. When's Templar gonna show up? He's got 2 hours. Actually, he's got an hour and 15 minutes now. Yeah, afternoon. I'm gonna end this no matter what. I have my Costco doggy. If that doesn't work out. So what's up? Yeah, when's he gonna show up and actually prove that he's capable of understanding a real debate? This is the thing. He's not gonna like it when an actual conservative debates him, like me. He's not gonna like it because he's gonna get his ass handed to him from shit side to Sunday. So when's it gonna happen? Because I got the Bible here. I got a source with me. So if he tries to do any say I'm not right wing, I got a book. I got a book here to prove otherwise. So anyway, he shot himself. What the fuck? Nah, there's no way he committed anti-hero yet. No way. I mean, he can be anti-hero too, but I doubt he will. Look, I know Templar can be anti-hero. Templar probably wants to be anti-hero, but he's not anti-hero yet. He hasn't shot himself, guys. That's another thing. I know a lot of that dialogue. How do I know that? Well, it's actually funny. Believe it or not, my internet days are also terminally online, but my internet days predate most of you. See, Templar didn't like Templar is like new, right? I created the system that he is under. He doesn't know, but I come from the '90s internet, bitch. You want to talk about the internet being Wild West when you were a kid, motherfucker? You remember old YouTube as post Google. You don't remember pre Google YouTube when shit was actually lit as fuck. He doesn't remember 2005, 2006 era YouTube. He doesn't even remember 2007 to 2008. He remembers 2010, which is a year after Google bought YouTube, and it was already starting to show signs of shit with the UI. And they integrated Google Plus and everything and all that shit. Anyone remember that? I remember that. Yeah, I remember that shit show. But it brought us Markiplier, which was nice. Markiplier, PewDiePie, and Jacksepticeye, a nice trio. But that's effectively what happened, right? We had all this, had all these cool gaming channels and cool review channels and shit. The only ones that really survived are PewDiePie, Markiplier, and Jacksepticeye, and Doug Walker, and Angry Video Game Nerd, to be fair. Well, I guess Screw Attack is still Death Battle, right? Like, Screw Attack's still around. It's just called Death Battle now. But, outside of Death Battle, there's really none of those old YouTube channels are still around. And again, Death Battle used to be called Screw Attack. And it used to be run by Stuttering Craig, who now runs his own channel called Side Scrollers. You know? Stuttering Craig, it was one of the OGs as well. Like, obviously, he's not as OG as Tom Fulp or Moot. Tom Fulp, by the way, predates Moot by a bit of a margin. Tom Fulp is from 95, for those who don't wondering. Moot is 2003. So 4chan actually, is not the OG internet. It's Newgrounds. A lot of people don't know that. But Newgrounds has 8 years of edgelord comedy on 4chan. Not really. They are nowhere near as relevant in today's internet as they were in 2015 or something. Newgrounds? Newgrounds is still. What the fuck are you talking about? You have no sense of. Like, you just don't like it because it's old. You have no idea what the fuck you're on about there, buzz. Newgrounds is the internet. Like, without Newgrounds, there is no internet. That's just full stop. Newgrounds goes down, the entire internet goes down because everything is built off of how Newgrounds functioned. It's the first social media site. Like, it predates YouTube, it predates Kick, it predates Twitch, it predates MySpace even. Which predates Facebook, which predates Twitter. All the sites you use today are built off the technology that Newgrounds pioneered. And you know why Newgrounds is the best? Because it has 6-star ratings. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are like, 1 is terrible, 2 is awful, 3 is kind of mid, 4 is good, and 5 is great. And then there's a 6 rating called 0. You want to know what 0 meant? Blam this piece of shit. That was the report button. It was called the blam button. You wanted to get rid of something, you voted it out. You voted with your wallet in your voice. You said, this is disgusting dog shit. I don't want it on my platform. So you voted a 0. That's the thing. Instead of algorithm manipulation, you just said, fuck this piece of shit. I want it gone. That's all you did. You don't dislike bomb a game, you just blam it. Imagine if they did that with had that feature on Steam. You had 6 stars. And you could rate them, and then you could just blam something. Right? I would get abused real quick, I bet, though, to be fair. But the cool thing about it is because of how the button works, right? Because here's the thing about blamming. If you blam raid someone, they'll blam raid you back. So if you want to make money, you can't abuse it, right? That's one of the parts of like Newgrounds lore. That's a thing too. You don't just blam raid everything, because if you do, you get caught real quick. By the way, and if you're caught participating in a blam raid, you'll be caught in any blam raids from future. So you won't like to blam raid, right? So that's the system they put on. It's an honor code, right? You don't blam raid someone unless you genuinely think something is shitty. You don't blam it. So you can't just blam a game because the director said something you dislike. The game has to actually be dog shit. So you can't blam, for example, like Ghost of Tsushima, but you can absolutely blam Concord. Right? Or a Dragon Age Veilguard, right? Those would get blammed, right? But you can't blame Ghost of Tsushima because it's a good game. It's just like, the director is kind of cray-cray. So, like, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, you have to have an actual system in place of honor for that. But, yeah, that's just how the old internet worked. If content was legitimately bad, it would just get BTFO'd. Another thing to note, right? Did you know that? They are no. Oh, okay. You're talking about PewDiePie, Markiplier, and Jacksepticeye. They're still relevant as fuck. They've still got millions of views every time they upload a video. What are you talking about? They're some of the most relevant people on YouTube right now, outside of Mr. Beast. Anytime Markiplier, PewDiePie, or Jacksepticeye makes a video, it gets millions of views. Most of these other people have to upload 10 videos a day to keep up with that. Like I'm serious. Look at Asmongold. He doesn't make that kind of videos. He doesn't bring that many people to the platform. He has to make 10 videos a day because he can't keep up with Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and PewDiePie making a single video. because of his content style. Their content is happy and like they're not edgy, right? They're not edgy. They're more happy and fun, right? But that's the point. You have more fun watching them than you have someone like Asmongold. Asmongold is like an anger salesman. It's kind of okay to watch sometimes, but you can't really watch that all day, and so people don't. They like a small amount of people watch his videos compared to the actual goats. That's why he has to make multiple videos to keep up with the same amount of views. Because he can't with rage. You can't rage bait is not as good as making money or making views as people think it is. Actual good content is as a far superior way to make money. It just is. It just is. And it's also why like so many video essays get way more views too. Like look at like I'm not really a big fan of the guy, but look at for example H Bomber guy, right? His videos, every single video, tens of millions of views. Tens of millions. I don't like them, but they're well edited. They're good videos. I don't like him. I don't like his audience, but I'm not going to pretend his videos are bad. That's why they have so many views. Quantity, yes, but by views, no. They don't make enough views. That's why they make the short form outrage slop content. Like, if they could keep up in views by making a 10-minute video that's actually decent or an hour video that's really good, do you think they would do the low-quality slop? No, because that's the thing. They don't have the ability to make that good quality to actually make good content that people like. That's why they do it. And even then, short-form outrage slop doesn't beat good short-form content either. Quality shorts are vastly superior to short form outrage slop. Like for example, look at what's his name? Alfon. I think it's like Alfonso Jokes, right? Oh, Alfredo Jokes. It's Fredo, right? Fredo Jokes. That dude, and Al Jokes is another one. Those dudes aren't outrage farmers, but they're short form content creators. But their content is amazing, so that it makes millions of views. Asmongold cannot keep up with them either, because they're way better than him. Right? And that's the thing, right? These are comedians. One's right wing, one's left wing. Both are actually legitimately some incredibly funny people, though. And that's the thing. The grift content, right? Like, I don't think Asmongold's a grifter, but many of his adjacent followers are. And the point of grifting, right, is that you can't actually make good content and you want money from your content. So instead of doing something productive that people like, you try to piss everyone off to give you money. That's what it is. That's how the grift works. It just piss everyone off to get paid. Like, it's not like the grift isn't actually anything they're saying. It's the fact that they're trying to piss you off to get money. Like, a good example, right? Mark Kern is not necessarily like wrong on everything he says, but he's not really providing any productive value to the conversation of gaming, right? Like, yeah, everyone knew. Like for example, when he tried to rage bait everyone as saying he thought that that the game, what was it, Starfield would flop because it was it had a bad background or some bullshit. It actually flopped because it was a Bethesda game. Asmongold is the fuck are you? Drugs opinions. Freemason. I mean, his fame is artificial, but it's not. He was propped up overnight. He was propped up because, of the Amber Heard thing, right? That's why he was propped up. Nobody knew who the fuck he was before Amber Heard. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't know. It's that they are propped up like by politics rather than actual gaming takes, because his gaming takes back then were good, but they were less like because his video editing style was shit, and it still kind of is shit, right? But that's the thing. Notice his video quality hasn't really increased much, but because of the Amber Heard trial, people paid attention to him, right? So people only paid attention to him because of the Amber Heard stuff, right? And again, all he did, like he was correct on Amber Heard, by the way, but all he did was have what most people would agree with, right? Like, yeah. Now, again, in this case, most people were right. Not every time most people agree with something is it correct, by the way. For example, when he says Trump's tariffs are good or they're a strategy or whatever, no, Trump is a dumbass. He hasn't actually provided any jobs for America. He hasn't provided us any deals for America. None of that has happened because of tariffs. What's happened is our taxes increase and then decrease and then increase and decrease. No, they discuss politics because they want to discuss politics. They do rage bait through them, but they discuss politics because they want to discuss politics. I'm fine with Asmongold and his kin to prop up politics. I don't fucking mind. Like, he can believe whatever he wants. This is America. like, like you're acting like I'd actually give a flying fuck about like what people's politics are. I'm an American citizen. Like, politics aren't that bad. Aren't a problem here. We're meant to discuss politics. I feel like a gamer shouldn't talk about them on their gaming channel. But like on my Odyssey, I don't talk about politics. On my Twitch, I don't talk about politics. This is YouTube and Kick that I'm talking about politics on. I don't talk about them on my gaming channels because fuck that shit. I just want to talk about games. When I'm on Twitch, I talk about games. When I'm on Odyssey, I talk about games. When I'm on YouTube and Kick, I talk about politics. So that's the thing, right? Like, yeah, I talk about politics all the time, but there's a time and a place for it. You know? Like, that's my thing, right? I think, like, channels like, for example, I think, like, Smash JT would do way better if he just talked about the games he liked instead of focusing on politics all the time. Same with like Yellow Flash 2 and comics, right? Like that's my thing, right? They would do way better if they talked about things they like. Same with Razor Fist. Razor Fist is really a good example of someone who shoots himself in his own foot all the time. Because he could just stop talking about politics and start talking about games he likes. And he would do way better, but he doesn't want to do that. Mainly because he sucks at those games. Like, he sucks at Thief. He sucks at, Soul Reaver. He sucks at all these games. But, like, I don't really care. Look, you can suck at the games you like. Who the fuck actually cares? You like them for their story, not because you're good at the games. That's fine. Because, like, Razor Fist genuinely is a terrible gamer. like, how he supposedly got into Doom when he can't even play it on Nightmare, I have no idea. Because Doom, for me, is like, that's a Nightmare mode game. Like, it's hard as fuck at first, but it's a lot more fun on Nightmare. Like once you get past like the initial difficulty curve, it gets a lot more fun. And like that's the thing. How does Razor Fist enjoy Doom but only on easy? Like, I don't get that. Well, everything is politicized because everyone is at each other's throats. Like, that's just the thing. That's just how it is, right? Like, The internet has divided everyone, and it made us easy to conquer by the Chinese. By the way, that's what's happening. China and Saudi Arabia, like what's funny about the Muslim ban is that Trump is the one who invited the Saudi Arabians in to have a military base on our property anyway. Like, there's a Texas military base that is owned by Saudi Arabia. Like Trump's like, I'm gonna ban Muslim. You're the reason they're fucking here. Like, hey, what are you talking about? Chest beating opinion there. Like, what are you honestly talking about, Trump? You are the reason they are here. Like, not all of them, but like those, like the ones that are armed with soldiers and shit. Like, you are the reason they are here. You are the one who gave them a military base. Like, like you invited Saudi Arabia to buy our companies. You invited Saudi Arabia to buy shares in our fucking gold for some reason, and you invited Saudi Arabia to have a military base on U.S. soil. Donald Trump, if you're not against Islam, you're the reason Islam is here. If Sharia law comes to America, I am blaming Trump more than anyone else, honestly. I doubt it will, but if it does, he's the reason it is coming. Right? He's saying, like, no, if it comes to U.S. soil, he's the reason it came, because he's the only one that did all that. Like he's saying, Biden let them come in asylum, which he did. To be fair, Biden was a piece of shit too, but that just means that illegal immigrants who abuse asylum privilege are bad, right? That's like, okay, yeah, I agree. If you come here seeking asylum and then you don't actually go through the asylum paperwork, yeah, you're a bad person. You should probably go away. Because you shouldn't skip asylum. You should do your asylum paperwork. Undocumented immigrants are not legally allowed to be here. That's just how it is. Well, no, actually, Donald Trump is a far left socialist. That's what I would call him. Like, he's the only president left wing of Trump, right? I believe is Biden, right? Like, Obama's right wing to Trump. Obama went harder on immigration. Obama went harder on, war and stuff too. Again, he's called Drone Strike Barry. You don't see Drone Strike Trump, you see Drone Strike Barry. Obama did more than Bush and Clinton combined, when it came to drone striking our enemies. And when it came to the border, Obama arrested more than Trump and Bush combined, with ICE, right? So Bill Clinton didn't count because ICE really wasn't a thing before Bush. ICE was created by Bush, for those who don't know. So we're measuring ICE deportations. There were deportations before that, but the ICE didn't exist, so I don't know how to count that one. But ICE deportations are higher under Obama than they were under Bush, Trump, and Biden combined. So Obama has two presidents that has 3 or 4 presidents that he's bigger on drone strikes on, and 3 of the 4 presidents, he's the fourth, are below him on ICE arrest too. So like the idea, well, yeah, like he's the only one that ran on pro-gay marriage. Like a lot of people forget that he's the first pro-gay politician. The idea that Trump is right wing is honestly funny to me. He'll pretend he's right wing, but he's not right wing. Like, I hate him for the left wing politics, not the right wing ones. Like, the right wing politics is what? Freedom of speech, apparently? Like, yeah, fuck, I like freedom of speech, yeah. But he doesn't even have gun rights. Like gun rights are the ultimate right wing position. You're not going to see a single right winger in the country who is anti-gun, because that's like, if you like, that's like, if you want to be a right winger, you have to at least accept that you're pro-gun. Like, that's like, you like, so like all these people, like you have Metatron and shit saying, oh well, let's just bump the Second Amendment away for trans people. because of this one school shooter. Like, no, no, not a single right wing person approved of that. That's a far left position. None of the American right are going to stand for that. We like our guns. That's the thing. You're not going to see an actual right wing person be anti gun on it for anyone, right? They'll be like, yeah, I believe that trans people should have guns. If they try to use them, I'll shoot them. But they're not gonna be anti-trans on that issue. They're not gonna say, oh, everyone should own a gun except those people. No, they're gonna be like, everyone should own a gun. Because the whole point, right, is if everyone owned a gun, then it wouldn't matter, right? The real reason, like that the Charlie Kirk shooting was tragic, is not that it was preventable because of gun stuff, right? The gun was untraceable anyway. If we harden on gun rights, this gun would still have shot Charlie Kirk in the neck, right? Like there was no way that Charlie Kirk would have survived because the gun that was used was one that cannot possibly be traced because it's too old. No, no, not really. Um, I think that's a position most people will be solidly against because the UK's against it too, and the UK genuinely like doesn't have as much problems transitioning to the left as we do. Like no, kids transitioning is not going to be accepted. It's just not. Pedophilic shit is not going to be accepted by most of society ever. That's just pedophilia. If you want kids to transition, that's pedophilia. Like I'm just be honest here. Adults transitioning, hey, look, most people are fine with that now. But kids transitioning, there's a reason why the right won on that, right? Trump won using that as his platform because people are always going to be against that. Like once you involve kids, people are not going to like it as much. That's why like outside of California, people who like go into bathrooms like Dr. Disrespect and Lily Tino, if Dr. Disrespect lived in Florida, like where Lily Tino tried and got convicted for creeping in kids in bathrooms, what happened? He would have been in jail getting anally raped like he should be. Because this is the thing that people forget. Dr. Disrespect should not be banned off Twitch for the messaging minors bullshit because we don't even know what he said. He should be in jail getting anally raped by some black guy named Jamal Brown because he filmed himself in a bathroom where kids were pissing and shitting in 2019. This was a year before he was even banned. Yeah, gay marriage is fine though. I don't care about gay marriage. Like, yeah, look, if it's adults, I don't give a shit. Right? Surrogacy, I have a bit of a problem with. A bit of a problem. Like, I don't have a major problem with it, but I have a bit of a problem with it because it kind of seems weird for gay surrogacy. Honestly, surrogacy in general seems kind of eugenic, like, so I don't like that. But the idea of gay marriage, like, you're two adults. And here's another thing, by the way. Gay marriage isn't even a thing that we need a law for. It's the Constitution. Marriage is a religious ceremony. We have freedom of religion in the United States. Ergo, it should be a right if your church wants you to have a gay marriage that you can have a gay marriage. As long as your church signs off of it, why does the United States Constitution, why do people in the United States get involved in it anyway? The U.S. government shall not make any law about that. If the church is fine with it, that's all we need. And then the cool thing about it with the First Amendment is that also means the church, if they're against, can forbid it. But they can't forbid you from getting married. They just can't. They can just forbid you from getting married in their church. Like that's just how it is. Like marriage is a religious practice. If someone wants to get married, they find a church that'll marry them. That's it. If they're gay, they're trans, whatever. If the marriage is approved and it's two consenting adults, I do not give a flying fuck. Like, yeah, I'm pro the Constitution, and that's what the Constitution says in the First Amendment. Like, once you recognize what marriage is, it's in the First Amendment of the Constitution that gay marriage is legal so long as the church permits it. Like, it's not that hard. There's plenty of churches that are fine with gay rights. Just go to one of them and like leave the ones that are against it alone, and I don't care. Pedophilia used to be legal. What are you talking about? Pedophilia was legal until like 1,000 years ago in most of the world. Did you know? You do know that the average the average age of a woman who had kids up until like the 18th century was like 12, right? Like you think pedophilia is a taboo in history? Pedophilia was the norm. Like that's one thing that's one of the progressive things that got away. The fuck drugs are you smoking? Like 18 is a new thing, and it's a good thing, but it's a new thing. It's literally came about the last 200 years. You can look at any history book. Men were fucking 12-year-old girls when they were 30, right? All the time. It was not even just not frowned upon, it was encouraged in every society, including medieval Christian ones, because that was like considered the ages that they were supposed to do. Men were at war so that they would do it at 30, and women were house stricken so that they would start doing it at 12. It was fucking barbaric, but that's what happened. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is left-wing shit is what happened there. The Industrial Revolution and first wave feminism is what caused that. Like, there's a reason they joke about right-wing libertarians all being pedophiles. You know that, right? It's because pedophilia is more of a right-wing thing. That's history. That's back in the day. Gay shit was never approved of until like the 1900s, like 1940s in certain places, and not really like most of the first world until like the mid 2000s. Like gay shit was like gay shit is progressive. Pedophilia is regressive because society used to approve of that. Like most countries in like Africa and Asia still kind of do. Like South Asia, not like most of Asia, but like South Asia kind of do still. Hell, even in countries that frown upon it, the average age of consent is 16, not 18. Like most countries, adulthood is 16. Or in the first world, and in the third world, it's still fucking 12. Like it is like when you realize how much of what you said is a progression away from that, you kind of realize that no, people have more of a problem with homosexuality and trans people than they had with pedophilia back in the day. The reason they care, like the reason they say that is more because a lot of gay and trans people are victims of pedophilia, so they're like, see, you think this is bad. At least that's why they originally said it. Like now, everyone thinks pedophilia is bad, but back when they were saying it back then, they didn't think it was bad. They were the pedophiles who were telling the gay people that if we accepted them, that they'll have to accept the pedophiles who were using the pedophilia argument. That was how it was back in the day, because back then, pedophilia was the fucking norm. It's disgusting. But that was the norm. Like mankind's history, when you really pay attention to it, was thousands of years of vile, evil pieces of shit with a big stick telling people who wanted to be moral that morals were gay. and that gay was a killable offense. And then around came in the Industrial Revolution and basic feminism, and we got some actual human rights. Slavery ended. Pedophilia was frowned upon, and people liked to actually have jobs that they got money for and participated in the gain of capital. And this is another thing. I don't really like people who criticize capitalism because they never criticize capitalism. Like most people criticize socialism or corporatism or fascism or whatever. They never actually understand capitalism because they never lived in real laissez faire. Also, for those who don't know, capitalism, communism, socialism, uh, look at the word that comes before the ism, right? So capitalism, that's the ideology based on the on people's individual right to gain capital, right? Capitalism is the only society where you're not in a caste, right? A caste, of course, is a type of societal expectation for and limitations for your group. So if you're poor in India, you're supposed to stay poor. If you try to make money in India and you're a lower caste, you're still a piece of shit to them. In fact, you're a bigger piece of shit because you're trying to get out of your caste, right? Um, and that's non-capitalist societies. That's all of the non-capitalist societies because that's what capitalism is. It's the belief that a poor person should be able to not stay a poor person. Communism is, of course, a commune, right? Communism. So, like the idea of like Amish people are communists, right? Like when people say Christ would be a communist, they're not wrong. What they're wrong about is that the idea of is that socialism is communism, right? Like no, it's just go to a religious commune. Any religious commune is communistic in nature. It's just they're way better because they're smaller and they're not forcing it on the government level. Like communism as a state is terrible, but if you want to go to a religious commune, they're pretty good. Like, ever been in Amish town? It's awesome. What's funny is the what's it? Return to the land. That's a communist agenda thing. Like people are saying it's white supremacist because it's a group of white people that want a whites only town, but they're going to be hard on religion. They're going to be very much like built around working, together as a society, right? They just don't want people who don't want to hold their views around, and it's easier to homogenize and unite people when they're the same race. It sucks, but that's just how it is, right? So it's not really white supremacist. It's just a town where everyone's white and they just get along with each other and stuff. As long as that's what it is, it's gonna be fine. These places exist all over the place. No, the point of MAGA is just like the point of MAGA is like most MAGA actually believe MAGA, right? The slogan of MAGA, most people who still sling that right now believe it. Trust me. Um, like there's probably a few grifters here and there that on the top, but most people who still wear those red hats fully believe that Trump will make America great again. Now, most of MAGA is not MAGA anymore. There's the America First movement, like under Nick Fuentes, and then there's just people who just stop being supporting him. He's got a very low like approval rating now. Trump's approval rating is sub 20 now. Like people don't like him now. He's not doing too well because the economy sucks. Like it turns out, like when people are poor, they're less likely to support you if they're made more poor after you get elected. Like he was elected because everyone was poor, and then people got more poor. Like, yeah, that's not what they voted for. Like, people ultimately at the end of the day, nobody gives a fuck about the border. Nobody gives a fuck about trans people. Nobody gives a flying fuck about gay people or whatnot. People care about, can I put food on the table? And as long as they can do it, they don't give a shit what you do to make it like that. But when they can't, they say, fuck you, I'm voting for someone else next year. That's It's very simple minded. People who vote are very simple minded. The one goal that every single parent will have, and the majority of voters are parents, is can I feed my fucking kids tomorrow? As long as that is going to be a thing, like as long as that's going to be what people discuss, they're going to vote for someone else. Whoever is in charge, they're not going to vote for you again if they are struggling to put food on the table. Nobody gives a flying fuck about anything else when that's the issue at hand. If they're struggling to put food on the table, that's issue number one, no matter what. People need to eat. Like, no matter what, that is going to be the economic issue number one for hundreds of millions of Americans right now. So Trump is not doing too well because the economy sucks even worse than it did when he got here. And Biden, by the way, got voted out, Biden and Kamala Harris, because they put us in the same situation. COVID didn't put us in that. Biden and Harris did. Other places aren't suffering the same shit as we are. China's not suffering through that. I don't like China, but they're doing decently when it comes to feeding their kids. Like, China fucking sucks on everything else, but hey, their kids are fed. They're willing to put up with the authoritarian bullshit because they're eating. They don't care about anything else. They're well fed there. You can tell because they're actually like smiling and joking about Hassan and shit in there in Asmongold. Like, people don't joke about that shit, from across the seas if they're not doing too well. And this is most of their audiences, by the way. Most of Asmongold and Hassan and all that, most of their audiences aren't from America. They're from places like China and India. And the thing is, those people who are doing that, they're well off. Like, Asmongold's also well off, right? These people are well fed. The average American is not well fed right now. The average American is eating ramen noodles and Costco hot dogs. Like that's what they're eating. Like, if you notice, the Snap conversation wasn't even I should have Snap too. It was, why am I, a hardworking American, going out and eating hot dogs and SpaghettiOs, while they're eating steaks and Oreos, right? That was the conversation over the Snaps going away. And then the stores all just became vacant too. And some people were proud of it, some people were angry about it, but most people were like, why is it that none of us can afford to feed our kids? Right? That was like the thing is, when people were happy about it, they were really just coping. Because like they knew exactly what was going to happen if the snaps didn't come back, was that those stores would go bankrupt. No one is happy about the economy. Some people are misplacing their anger at poor people who are getting food stamps when they should be really asking, why can't I get food stamps and if I'm struggling to feed my kid more than SpaghettiOs? Honestly, I that's what I would be asking. Like, why is it that there are middle class working people who are feeding their kids SpaghettiOs and ramen every day because they can't, and cheap hot dogs because they can't afford to give them real food? That's the question we should be asking, right? Why is it that middle class working families can't afford to eat real food? But nobody wants to have that conversation. Because then it would be like, instead of blaming poor people, we'd be blaming, like, the government. And people on the right are often sadly taught to not question the government when it's in power, when their side is in power. They're only taught to question the government when the other side is in power. And it's the same with the left too. The average leftist only questions things when the right is doing it. This is why, again, you hear Trump derangement syndrome. Trump derangement syndrome is when you criticize Trump for things the left already did. Right? Again, the kids in cages shit, Obama did that. The drone strikes, Obama did that way more. Arresting immigrants, Obama did that way more too. And he didn't do it for the Epstein ballroom. That Epstein is had nothing to do with it. Like I said, Epstein is like a. Do you know who Epstein even was? He was a tutor. He taught people, let people and their kids some bullshit. He got rich off of that, bought an island, and fucked some kids there. He wasn't really this massive person. Most people had no idea who he was at Hollywood. This like the idea he was this massive popular figure is bullshit. He literally started as a tutor for one of the Weinstein brothers. He was never big and popular. Like he was a Democratic donor, and he invited some celebrities to his island, and no one actually showed up, except Stephen Hawking. Like the idea that he was this massive pedo ring guy is false. He was a pedo, but he wasn't really running this massive pedo ring. He was the number one customer, if anything. Like nobody fucking went to that island except maybe like a couple other perverts, and they're all in jail too. Like Harvey Weinstein's in prison. Yeah, he's a pedophile. Yeah, he's where he belongs. Kevin Spacey isn't, but he was accused of being one, rightfully so. And yeah, he was there. Yeah, like all these pedophiles. Yeah, they were there on the island. Yeah, sure. Um, but there weren't that many. There weren't that many. There were like five or six. This is the thing. He didn't have a big client list when it came to that. Because you know what? Like the thing is, right? When we hear about Bohemian Grove, too, like this is why people think it would be this massive list, is because we hear about all these private things, but no one ever remembers that all of these things are like a couple of people, right? So Bohemian Grove, the Shirley Temple bullshit, all of this was a couple of people. They were all super rich, by the way, but it was always a couple people in small groups that would rape individual kids. There was never a big ring. It was a party of like maybe 100 or so dudes where they would do that shit. No, no, plenty of billionaires got caught over it. What are you talking about? Victor Salva, he was the only one that went to prison for a prolonged time, but Victor Salva, Brian Peck, both of which were convicted. Victor Salva, before he even made Jeepers Creepers, which is what he's known for, by the way. If we actually had a just system, Jeepers Creepers trilogy would have never been fucking made, just saying. Um, yeah. Brian Peck, the guy who made Drake and Josh and all that, and then went off after he was arrested for raping Drake Bell and made Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Like we don't treat them properly if they're billionaires. They should honestly be strung upside down on a cross while nine circles of fire burn around them, so they can figure out as they burn to death which circle of hell that they belong in. Spoiler alert: it's the ninth one. That's why there's nine of them. Yeah, yeah, no. Um, the like if we did that, a lot of these people would stop doing it. If we just crucified them on an upside down cross, hang them by their ball sack with one nail, just one nail that's just strong enough to hold them by their nuts, upside down. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna torture these rich pedos to death. That's all we gotta do. And you know another thing, by the way, you know that dude who's hitting people that everyone's talking about? People are talking about like executing him. No, here's what you do, right? Because it's not really killing anyone and he's not harming them that much. Here's what you do, right? If you have a public nuisance like that, this is a thing. Like if we want to bring back some stuff, right? This is an old medieval loony bin, right? It's like medieval. let's see, what's that called? A pillory, right? A pillory. So this is a pillory. I'm going to show you this, right? So like this is what we used to do to people who were like convicted of being a public nuisance. This isn't for the pedophiles. This is for like the public nuisances. It's like this. Just put them in this. Have everyone throw shit at them. Humiliate these pieces of shit. Absolutely, they deserve it, right? Like, we don't need to kill them. Just humiliate them in one of these things. like, like if every public nuisance, like that one black guy going around that everyone hates, was put in one of these and it had everyone take a swing at him for a couple of days, he would never do this again. This is how we treated town drunks, because that's what it is. He's a town drunk. You treat him like this, everyone will be fine. No, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but people really wouldn't care as much as you think, unfortunately. Like, the reason why people don't care is because most people really don't care anyway. I feel like a lot of people don't know this, but the reason why good men do nothing is because there's consequences for good men doing something. Good men don't do nothing in these situations because they're not wanting to help out. When you see a bunch of people, you know, a good example is earlier this year, right? There is that homeless woman who got set on fire in New York City, right? And I said Eric Adams needs to go to jail and get anally raped because of it. I have a video on that. Anyway, the point is, the police did nothing. That was Eric Adams' fault, right? Because the police should have absolutely put her out or arrested the guy or did both while this was happening instead of walking past a burning woman and a guy fanning the flames who was, the one who did it in the same, room. That shouldn't have happened. However, people also criticize the people recording doing nothing. And my thing is, if either of them did something, they would have been arrested for attempting to fix the situation. And that's why they did nothing. Because it was considered a bigger crime to help the woman on fire or try to wrestle the guy who set her on fire down to the ground. It was considered a bigger crime to do that than it was to actually set her on fire. That's how screwed up the system is. So people are wondering, New York isn't screwed up because it's weak on crime. It's screwed up because it's tough on fixing crime. It's not weak on crime. It's that the crime that it made was fixing the crime. Vigilantism it's far tougher on vigilantism than it is on actual fucking crime. That's why New York City's fucked up sometimes. And it's only certain areas that are like that. But when you go to one of those areas, they're tough on fixing New York City. They would rather New York City burn to the ground than they would have someone put out the fire. They would arrest you for putting out. It's the same with Uvalde, by the way, too. Remember Uvalde? They arrested the mothers who were trying to get their kids out. And, rather than arresting the guy who was murdering 20 people or just shooting him. They tried to arrest the Border Patrol agent who shot the kid. Yeah, no, fuck that piece of shit. He should have. He murdered 20 kids with a gun. It's not the gun that's the problem. It's the fact that the fucking psycho massacred that many people. And he wouldn't have gotten away with that many people. He would have gotten 2 if the police did their fucking jobs because they were at the school. They could have just shot him right there. They decided not to. They decided to let him massacre everyone. It's fucking disgusting and disrespectful, and quite frankly, the fact that only 2 agents have been arrested, no, the entire department should be in jail. Like, that is a arrest the entire department and replace it with people who will do their fucking job kind of issue. Like, the chief of police needs to be arrested. Every single officer who was at that scene needs to be arrested. Full stop. That's how you fix cops. Not by riding BLM. You fix cops by when there's someone who refuses to help people and they're a police officer and it's a school that's being massacred by a piece of shit and they do nothing about it. What you do is you arrest everyone and you replace the chief of police and arrest him too. Everyone at the scene and the chief. Just full stop, arrest them all, put them in jail, make sure that the next squad of police officers does their fucking job. And I bet you if they did that with Uvalde, there will never be Uvalde 2 if that happened. Because that's actually holding police accountable. Not arresting someone who just did their job and it might have contributed to the loss of a crackhead's life. With the George Floyd shit, yeah, maybe he contributed to it, and it wasn't really positive. And I doubt, even if he was dying off fent, I doubt him leaning his, foot on his neck was actually helping. I doubt it was actually helpful for the scenario. So regardless of whether he murdered George Floyd or just contributed to his death in a way that shouldn't have happened, I don't really care because at the end of the day, George Floyd really wasn't a good person. He was a rapist, a serial assaulter, massive junkie. I don't really care about the massive junkie part. I think that's really just that helped lead to his death. Honestly, I don't. If he wants to do fent, I don't really give a shit. Doing fent isn't really what I think should be a crime. It's what you do on it, right? They always say it about this. I don't care about people smoking marijuana. I care what they do on it. I don't care about people smoking mushrooms. I care what they do on it. For me, doing drugs isn't a problem. It's what you do when you're on them, right? And it's also what you do when you're not on them. As in, doing bad shit is the crime, not doing drugs. If you're dealing drugs, that's a different story, right? Because dealing fentanyl is different from doing fentanyl, right? If you do fentanyl and all you do is pass out, maybe rehab. But if you deal fentanyl, you're basically a death dealer. You should be. If that person dies, you should go to jail for attempted, for manslaughter. Not murder, because you didn't premeditate it. You didn't even intend that they would die necessarily. But at least manslaughter, because you physically led to their death by selling them drugs. I full on say, if someone dies because of drugs from a particular dealer, that dealer should be arrested for attempted for manslaughter. Full stop. Drug deal, don't make drug using a crime, but make drug dealing equal to manslaughter. We'll be fair, it's not murder, it's manslaughter. Make it first degree manslaughter. That's 20 years. You think people will continue dealing drugs that are that powerful if the crime is equivalent to murder? Or at least even first degree manslaughter? No. They'll stop. Because that's serious. And that's what they're doing. When you deal heavy enough substances like fentanyl and heroin to people, you are effectively doing manslaughter. Because some of those people are going to die. Right? So you don't charge them with drug dealing and give them 10 years. You charge them with what they ultimately are causing, which is manslaughter. And every death, by the way, is a manslaughter charge. No. I think that if drug dealers, right, street dealers, because I don't think that like I think that if we have people on the streets dealing these drugs, they should be charged with manslaughter if it's something like fent. Just full stop. They know that their actions are going to get people killed, and they're still dealing it, right? Manslaughter. And every single death caused by their dealing any drug traced to them, that's one new manslaughter charge. They get 3 of them, that's life. That's a life sentence. So yeah, that'll clear up the streets real quick. Because we don't care if they're using drugs. We care if they're dealing them, in my opinion. Using drugs, they need help. Like, honestly, they probably needed help before they used the drugs. Because one of the reasons you use drugs is because you're depressed, right? So they needed help a long time ago, in my opinion. Like, a lot of homeless veterans do use drugs, right? They don't deal drugs, but they use them. Yeah, because they're homeless and they're depressed. They're bored, they're depressed, they're homeless. Yeah, they're going to use whatever they can to have a moment of happiness. But you know what you do to help people like that? You put them in a little shelter where people are actually willing to help them feel better without needing to kill their own bodies for it. Like, it's that simple. Just put them in a place where they can get help. Like, I honestly don't know why, like, we treat the drug like war as if people who use them should be on the same level as people who deal them. People who deal drugs should be way higher on the offense, and people who use drugs, unless they do something criminal while on them, should just be considered depressed people who need medical attention. And like, society will improve immediately if we start doing that. You're on fent, and that's it. Like George Floyd was, of course, healing people. He faked a 20, right? So that's why he got arrested, right? So he was faking a 20, right? The fent wasn't really the crime he was arrested for. So because of that, right? That's fine for me that he got arrested. But like, let's say someone got arrested for just having it. Like, no, they should be sent to a rehab. Like, I've had people who I've lost to fent. I think dealers should absolutely go to prison. But I don't think that people my brother who is now dead should be like arrested for using it. No, that would have made it worse. He would have definitely killed himself before he did. If that happened, no, not rehab and therapy in the way that we do it right now. What doesn't do it? 20 steps, right? 20 steps. Charities. Not all of them work, but some of them do. And like, the thing with it, right? And the reason why it works is because it's a group that lifts you up, right? Like, so, like a 20-step program that's done properly, your peers are your higher power no matter what, right? Your peers who have conquered addiction and are no longer using those substances are your higher power, basically, right? You look up to everyone around you who is not doing the shit that got you into trouble and made you feel the way you are, right? You start living around those people. It helps you stay sober. Being around sober people helps you stay sober, right? The problem with rehab is that the people aren't sober there, right? You were going there because you were forced to, not because you want to. So there's a lot of people who aren't sober in rehabs. But if you surround yourself with good, sober people, you will have a much easier time staying sober. It's just the reality. You are a product of your environment. And people who do all these heavy drugs are a product of being around the wrong crowd. Like, if you look at anyone who's on fent, they all know people who do drugs. You want to know how I know? Because my brother, I have my brother who committed suicide. I have a trans brother who also does weed and shit, right? So, like, my brother who committed suicide did fent. My brother who, well, I guess they were my sister at one point, but he always did weed. So they were junkies all around him. Now, he did worse stuff than my trans brother ever did, obviously. But that's the thing, right? You hang around junkies, you're going to get even, and you're a junkie, you're going to get even more junk, right? So, like, the thing is, he should have never been around my brother. He should have never been around other people who did junk. You hang around junkies, you're going to get junk. It's just that simple. like if you want to help people who are addicted to something, have them hang around people who aren't. That's all you got to do. All right, he's got 15 minutes left, and then if not, I'm just gonna hang up this stream. But I mean, I think I made pretty good points anyway. I mean, my points are, of course, that he can easily get better performance off of what he wants, even with AI using stuff on his own system. Real art, like actual genuine art, does cost a lot of money. And the best times for art in history were when art was basically given a kingdom's worth of gold to fund, right? Um, well, yeah, no. Modern rehab sucks. I agree with you there. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, when you're on heavy shit, you're not gonna just do that. You have to have a group. But that's the thing, like gaming, painting, clay working. As long as you do it in a group, those can work. I'm be honest. The thing that helps you is finding a group of friends who aren't on junk, right? In fact, I think the only reason I'm not on any drugs is because I found gaming and shit instead of alcohol and weed, because I'm the only one of my mom's kids who isn't on some sort of drugs, because I was always gaming. That was my thing. I would game and I would do art. Fuck that shit. But that's how I was able to avoid it. I just didn't do it. I just did something else. I didn't like that kind of shit, so I didn't do it. It's that simple. But when it comes down to it, though, right? That's what causes it. It's the crowd that you're around, right? So my crowd was primarily like other gamers, right? So I would be hanging around with friends, and a lot of them were also furry, so I'd be hanging around with my girlfriend right now. We hang around and game a lot. I have a gaming server as well that I hang around with, two of them actually. One where we play, Starship Troopers, the video game. Not Helldivers, the actual Starship Troopers video game. Um, and another one where I play a lot of indie games with my girlfriend, and another one I play a lot of indie games with other friends. So I primarily game, but I game in groups, right? Even if it's a single player game, I'm hanging around gamers, not junkies. That's how it works, right? So because the source of my happiness is people playing games and having a good time, I don't need to do drugs. This is how it is. Um, but another thing though, I think the real thing that is why I was always able to have a good time, and what you want to know what my favorite game console is? The Kinect and the Wii. Because you know what? They were basically an arcade for whoever owned them. You owned a Wii or a Kinect back in the day, everyone was partying and dancing at your house. Everyone. Because it was that fucking good. You had to connect, everyone was dancing. Everyone was doing Michael Jackson. Everyone was doing Neo. Everyone was doing Pitbull, right? Everyone was dancing at your place. because it was the only game it had. Who cared? That shit was fun. You got 20 people all dancing, having a fun fucking time. Like, it's just great. And it's the same thing with like arcades. You ever go bowling? You ever go like at a skating rink? You skate a bit, exercise, get some like roller derby going, and then you go out and have some pizza, wings, and then play some video games like Carnival and House of the Dead, Street Fighter, Simpsons game, all that kind of shit. You had Time Crisis. Sometimes you had Crisis Zone, which is the machine gun spinoff. Yeah, like you had all these cool games: Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. Um, I think I had one where it was like an original Galaga and Miss Pac-Man one where like they had the two games combined. Like that's not how they originally came, but there was one where like in the '90s, a couple like mid '90s, where like they combined the two. Then you had like well, I better not have, but yeah, I don't hate the guy. I doubt he did that kind of stuff, but yeah, he's got about 7 minutes left. Because yeah, I mean, I can stream later if he wants to like. If he wants to like debate, like I don't care if he wants to debate after, but I'm gonna go head to Costco. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna have like something delicious. Like these hot dogs and pizza's good for $3. You can't go wrong with that. Or $3.50. I guess I'm the Loch Ness monster, man. That's why he doesn't want to debate. He's afraid. He's afraid because I'm eating something for $3.50. Whatever, he'll get that reference. He's supposedly a South Park fan, so he better get that reference. That's a good one. $3.50. The Loch Ness monster. You know. Um. But yeah, I doubt it'll come at this point. But hey, who cares? At this point, I had fun. Like, that's ultimately the thing. I had fun making this video. If he doesn't want to come, that's on me. That's on him. I bet you he'd have had a good time though, because that's the thing. The debate is like would be a debate, but it would also just be a fun conversation. Because I don't fucking give a shit. Like, like he can say whatever he wants. I'll say whatever I want. And again, I don't really judge him for the lolly stuff. I judge him for being low IQ and fat. Not really fat. I'm fat too, but like low IQ, yeah. Yeah, he objectively is, but like, it's a thing that you can fix because a lot of people don't know this. IQ isn't static. You can fix it. You have to train it. He has to put effort in it. Like Brilliant is a good example of a site that a lot of people use to help train their IQ, right? And another thing is just read a lot of books and stuff. Like the thing about IQ is you have to actually like the main trainer of IQ is reading. Like get some books. But like it's a massive like improvement to your IQ just to start reading all the time. Like I know it's weird, but trust me, just read all the time. Get some newspapers, get some books. Get some instruction manuals for some video games. I disagree. Artists aren't scared of debate. Artists just are scared to actually try AI to figure out what the fuck it is that they're debating. Because like I'm against like ChatGPT and stuff because of how much electricity is used to run them, and they purposely use that much electricity. They do not have to use that much. They are doing that to basically drive your electric cost high and try to warrant that they need this much RAM. They're the reason RAM is so expensive. They're the reason people's rent is so high right now. Well, not the only reason, but one of the big reasons. They're one of the big reasons why food costs so much. Like all of this is because big AI companies are driving up prices and also partially because of illegal immigrants. But the illegal immigrants were mostly here already. So the fact of the matter is, things haven't improved, but we've gotten a million out. So realistically, it's not as good. And by the way, half of that million left on their own. ICE didn't really do most of, like, three-quarters actually. ICE only arrested about a quarter of a million people this year. The other 700 plus million people that left because the economy sucks. They're like, I came here for opportunity. This shit poorer than my land. I'm gonna go back. That's why they left. Because they ain't making fucking money. That's why they left. So, like, people are wondering, like, oh, Trump's super successful. The 75% of his success on immigration was because America is so poor they went back to their home country so they could afford shit again. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign because they're not leaving willingly due to lack of welfare. They're leaving willingly due to the economy sucks shit. If Trump improved the economy, they would stay, but also we'd have more money to arrest them, right? Because then they'd have more money for ICE. The reason we have less money for ICE is because we have no fucking people paying taxes. Yeah, who's paying taxes? No one can afford to even eat food. You know, like that's the thing too. People are finding ways to uh like mislead the IRS because they don't want to fucking pay taxes anymore. They're finding as many loopholes as they possibly can to just stop paying taxes. Because why would you? Like seriously, why would you pay taxes if your government is doing this bullshit? You know, there's funding all this shit with AI. So like AI on the lower end, like Stable Diffusion, Quen, Quen Image, Wan Video, Hun Wang 3D, etc. They're winning. A lot of them are Chinese, unfortunately. I think Stable Diffusion is the only one that's American, or not Chinese anyway. But like the reason why they're all winning though is because they're open source. Anyone can use them. They're free. You can use them on your own computer, right? I have workflows where I generate videos. Like I just generate the like a better video than Tactical Templar. Um, with some time because like that's the thing. There is not really like any actual like limitations to these AIs. You can train them, you can do whatever, you can have porn with them, right? You know, anything like that because they aren't limited by some bullshit standard from Karens. They're limited by your own ability to train them and think and be creative and shit. And so that's kind of the thing, right? The real issue I have with people saying no, Rwandan and Indian AI sucks. It's Chinese and like American. They're the only ones that are competing right now. Like legitimately, it's Chinese and American. It's only those two. We're the only actual competitors. Like just full stop. We are the only actual competitors. Is China and America. The problem with America is that we're relying more on our government to fund them than we are on providing a good product. So instead of OpenAI providing a good product that's profitable, it's which would require optimizing their code. They are asking the government to basically give them infinite money to fund their projects and allow them to buy up all the RAM and GPUs and shit, right? Which is why you're like this is ultimately like the best like own to like why you should not use GPT. Like this is why you should not use ChatGPT. I mean, right? So let's do shopping tab on this, right? So like this is a good example of why you should not do it, right? Here we go. So, outside of this Alibaba Chinese store, which I don't really trust, but hey, it might work. Look at this. 70 under 84, 277 for 32. This is for 64, right? This is for what I have, 96. Like, you see the issue there, right? So because they can't beat China, they're trying to compete by making it so that only America can afford RAM, but they're also making it so only OpenAI can afford RAM and nobody else in America. And the issue is we're a consumer economy, so we're having so many people lose their jobs, so many people being unable to afford consumption. So we're destroying our economy to be slightly better than China at AI for a reason. People aren't, it's not even that people aren't using it, it's that the entire world could use it and it would still not be profitable. It costs that fucking much. They can't possibly make enough money back. And yet, despite that, you have all these people investing in them, and none of it is actually going anywhere. I'm seeing, yeah, there's one stick of RAM that's $11,000 too. Granted, it is a 128 gigabyte stick, but yeah, it's just, yeah. But anyway, I did say, so yeah.